Some people swallow the universe like a pill. They travel on through the world like smiling images pushed from behind. The universe lies before you on the floor, in the air, in the mysterious bodies of your dancers, in your mind. From this voyage, no one returns poor or weary. The grand show is eternal. Universe. Some people swallow the universe like a pill. They travel on through the world like smiling images pushed from behind. The universe lies before you on the floor, in the air, in the mysterious bodies of your dancers, in your mind. From this voyage, no one returns poor or weary. The grand show is eternal. The universe.
Hello, and welcome. Today is another day of game dev. I will kind of do a quick run through of where we left off last week. So last week we took our game that we were kind of creating and it turned into a puzzle game. We gave some little bits of font. So we kind of have the roughs of a game. So we have a stage select, so you can pick that. Whenever you click, it creates a black hole, and your thing goes towards the black hole. and should collect the power-ups. As you notice, the collision detection was not great. So I want to clean that up. I want to fix that. And it took one black hole to finish that. We go to stage 2, and then there's 3. So we can kind of do multiple black holes, and hopefully we can get it to go. We want it to 4 black holes. Okay. So basically it's tracking how long, and then we do have some basic collision detection, which might or might not work. Yay, it sort of works, and then it goes through. So we have some bugs I want to clean up. This is only going to be about 1 hour stream tonight because I am tired and not feeling wonderful, and yeah, there's just some bugs and cleanup and all of that. So that's what we're going to focus on. So the first thing, so if anyone is new, if you type !code, you can see the entire code on GitHub. Otherwise, I will have it here. So we have 3 files. We have our HTML file, which we have some comments we don't even need anymore. So this was originally called divs world. There, that should be large enough to see, and that should be large enough to see. And that should be large enough to see. So hopefully this is good enough. If people want it larger, please just let me know. Okay, so we have the HTML, which has our stage select here, which just is a bunch of buttons. And then we have our game board with our hero on it. That's about it. And then everything else is controlled by our JavaScript file. And what I want to do first is kind of clean up the collision detection. Collision detection is the most critical thing we have. So really what I want is to have a single, so right now we have this function check collision, which I don't even know if we're using. But it's taking a person and a number, and that it's not really what I want. Is something generic that I can use in any situation and say object 1, object 2, do they collide? So function, do they let's call it collide. I'll do collision detect. Collision detect. So object 1 top, object 1 left, object 1 height, object 1 width. Actually, let's just do this. Let's make it object 1. No, you know what? Let's make it readable. Let's not be silly. Height, width, okay, great. So now we want object 2. So now that we have the boxes, we can easily determine whether or not they hit. All right. So we have our collision detection code. So we'll copy and paste it, and then we will figure it out whether or not there's anything broken with it. So this is our original collision detection code. So if we come down here, so if collision detect object 1 top. Okay. So if object 1 top, all right, so I'm going to need to think about the box model on this one. Okay. So if the top, so let's think about it in terms of, hey, Raz, how are you? Hope you're doing well. All right, so really what I want to do is, all right, so let's just figure out the box. Okay, so let's just do top and bottom detection. So if object 1 top is less than or equal to object 2 top plus object 2 height. All right, so this would mean that the top of my object, because x, the y coordinates on HTML is always positive, is down. So I probably should get my whiteboard out for this. So for example, if I have It's going to auto tab this out. Stop trying to auto tab. So if I have this, if this is my box, this is top. Actually, it's just easier to go here. This is the top. This is top plus height. So what I want to do is in here, if my top of my first object is less than or equal to the top plus the height of the next object. So this top is above the bottom of the next. Okay, if that, and object 1 top plus object 1 height. So if the bottom of the object is greater than or equal to the object 2 top. Okay, so that means that it's with your two objects are in some way, shape, or form vertically connected. So now we need to check the leftmost connected. So object 1 left plus object 1 width. So that's if the rightmost is, all right, so let's do it the same way I had it in the front. So if the left is less than or equal to the object 2 left plus object 2 width, and object 2 left plus object 2 width is greater. Let's think about this one. 2 seconds. Okay, so if my left is less than, no, so greater than. So if my left is greater, my brain is failing here. So if my left is less than, yes, object 2 left plus the width. So my left is less than the right. Okay, great. Or my right, so object 2 left plus width, is greater than equal to object 2 left. If all those are true, we'd return true. Else, return false. Done, done, and done. All right. So now in theory, sorry about that. In theory, I'm missing something. Where should object 1 width be? Object. First says object 2 top, object 1 left, object 1 width. All right, so I should have used all of the variables. Great. Okay, so that's also possible. I could have exploded that one as well. All right, so this should be a significantly better thing. So now we're giving it a top, a left, a height, a width for each object, and it's saying, are they colliding? So now everywhere we have collision detection, we can replace this. So, for example, we're doing collision detection here, and then we do a whole different collision detection. So let's just, so what this collision detection was to determine, is it colliding because of moving? So we can now ridiculously clean this whole thing up. So let's come back to that. And all right, so now the collectibles. So instead of checking all of this, if check collision or collision detect, and then what do I want? Hold on. All right, there we go. All right, if collision detect check item dot top, check item dot left, check item dot width. Do my collectibles have a width? Hold on. Because that could be a problem. I need to check the collectibles width. I don't think my collectibles have a width. Let's see. Top left, and they do not have a width. That would affect things. So let's take a look. So collected item, no. Collectible. So collectible, I gave them a visible width of 6 pixels. Okay, so let's do that. So in our collectibles, now I've got an error somewhere. Oh, I know. All right, so our collectibles now need a width. So when we do collectibles.push, all right, so push height 6, width 6. All right, so we're giving things a height and a width. So now we can have larger and smaller collectibles at some point in the future, which is wonderful. And that's an obstacle. Okay, great. Okay, so now we're a step in the right direction. All right, so check on item dot, what is it? Height and width. Top left, height width. Okay. So check item dot height, check item dot width. Okay, and then the next is my hero top, hero left, hero height, and hero width. Now I can get rid of all of that code. So now it's a lot cleaner, and that. Okay, so if there is a collision detect, then collect it. All right, so let's just see. Okay, why am I getting a expected end of statement? What is if collision detect? That should be fine. That should be fine. Oh, this is probably. All right, let's leave this. Okay, no, I just didn't comment out enough. All right, so this is our collision detection, which we will get to shortly, but let's just quickly see how this works. Okay, so we go to stage 1, and let's see if our collision detection is better. Good. All right, so let's make it closer. Come on, more pull, more pull. You want to come this way, and then up. You want to come up. No, up, 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 this way. Come on. Come on, come on. Ah, there we go. All right. So collision detection for them, much better. Okay. So collision detection is much, much better. In that case. Okay, great. So now what we really wanted to fix was the collision detection, or what I really wanted to fix first was this collision detection. Because if you notice, that didn't work. I really need to get. So it was working in some cases, it wasn't in others. When all is said and done, this collision detection is iffy at best. So I really wanted to fix that. Okay, so really what I want to do is before my object moves, I want to see if the new position is a collision. If the new position is a collision, that means that the movement in some way, shape, or form created the collision, and what we need to do is figure out what movement created the collision. So if check, if collision detect, hero top, hero left, hero height, hero width, so top plus hero velocity y, and left plus hero velocity x. All right, so what I want to do is I'm moving the position. So if that collides with check item dot top, check item dot left, and I think check item should have a height and width. Yeah, and I'm not, that's not in here either. Okay, check item dot height, check item dot width. Okay, so if we have a collision, so in this case, that's why nothing was working, is because everything was, so in this case, what I'm going to do is if it collides, I'm just going to say hero velocity x is 0 and y. So I'll just stop this thing dead in its tracks. So it's not really what we want, but it's kind of proving a point, is can we break things? Boom. Okay. So yeah, so that case, it stops it dead. Which actually is working significantly better, but we don't want it to stop it dead. We want it to stop in whatever direction it was going. So in this case, I would still want it to be able to go y. I'd start or x, because x would move it left or right. So in this case, if, you know, this should be able to move x. So I guess what I'm going to do is, so now we know that it makes a collision when it's doing its full move. So now we can break this down. So if collision detect just from y, then our y is 0. Hello, Mr. Cryptic, how are you? All right, I missed that and that. All right, so if the collision detection was from the x direction or y direction, so plus hero velocity x, then x is 0. So what this basically is saying is if I'm allowed to move left or right or up or down without colliding, do it. So this should be much better. JavaScript is wonderful. It can be confusing, and depending on what languages you've known before this, it can, oh, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. So I can continue now on my Y. So now all I need it to do is get over the hump, and there we go. And so close. It almost, and there we got that. All right, so now our collision detection is 1,000,000 times better than it was, simply because we optimized the code and made it a little bit more readable. So we've actually optimized. There we go. See. So we now have a significantly better thing. Larry Man, hello. How are you? Hope you're having a wonderful day. And there we go. So we won. It took us 12 black holes. Okay, so we now have, so all of this code that we had got cleaned up into this. Isn't that beautiful? Well, if you work in Java, JavaScript shouldn't be too much harder. It is very different in that it's not compiled and doesn't work the same way Java does, but at least syntactically, it should make sense. Okay, so game engine wise, that was actually what I wanted to cover. So my hope now is to make things a little cooler. So let's see if I can do some, so CSS particle effects. I want to see if I can get some cool CSS particle effects. So I'm showing you what I do as a developer. I'm a professional developer. I don't develop games, but I've done game development in the past. I develop corporate websites of sorts. But this is what I do when I'm trying to, I look and see what's out there. So CSS clouds, I don't want animation. I want particle effects. Give me particle effects. Particles. So what I really want is right now you make this stage 1. You make your black hole, and your black hole is kind of how you say, the black hole is not very exciting. So what I want is the black hole to like do something cool. I want it to suck things in. I want it to look nifty. So let's actually just CSS black hole. Someone has got, no, that's not what I want. Someone has had to have done this. Let's see. Code pen. All right, so someone created that. So things just, so this is kind of what I want. So the first thing is I like the gradient. So let's see how they did the gradient. Okay, so they have a background image here, which is a WebKit radiant. All right, so I'm going to borrow this. Let's see how that works. Okay. So yes, I am borrowing code. And by borrowing code, I mean I'm just blatantly copy pasting it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So black hole. So let's give it a background image. Gradient circle. All right, let's see how that works. Let's just try it. And that doesn't do anything. So what else am I missing here? So maybe this is really what I want. Let's see, animation, spin. So that is constantly spinning. I'm not sure how much I want that to spin. Let's see, so let's see, no. Let's see, why is that? Inspect element, body, game board, black hole. Let's take a look. So our black hole is doing a gradient. So what if we, all right, so we have our black hole and our debris. So let's black hole. All right, so the black hole just has box shadow. That's all it has. Okay. So I'm going all crazy here when really all I needed was a box shadow. Maybe? Let's see. Box shadow should work. I see no reason why. There we go. Okay, now that's huge. Is that how the box shadow we want? No, that is ridiculous. So this is 16 pixels. So let's see if I make this 16, and we'll see how good that goes. So that's 16. That's too much. Let's do like 4. Okay, so that's good. So let's not make this 16, 16. Let's make it 4, 4, and this will be 12, 12. And there we go. Okay. Now, I'm not 100% sure why there's that little box, but that's, you guys probably can't even see that, but that's more black hole-like. So let's go through what box shadow is doing. CSS box shadow. So CSS box shadow has 4 parameters. Parameter 1 is so the horizontal shadow, the position of the horizontal shadow. So basically it's your offset. Hey, Angel of Death, how are you? Your second is your vertical shadow, your position, your offset of the vertical. Your blur is your second one, and your spread is the size. Then you have a color. You have an inset and an initial. So what I actually want to do is not do 12, 12, probably more like 6, 12, because I want it a little bit less perfectly gradient. There we go. Okay. So a little less perfectly gradient. And then if I do, let's see, 8, 2. There we go. Not too big, but it's got some gradient. I'm well. Tired. Been a little under the weather, but doing good. And we cleaned up some good code. Have I messed with Pixie.js? No, I haven't. Let's see. Pixie.js. Ah. No, I haven't. Pixie sounds fun, though. I do like WebGL renderers. There's a lot of fun stuff. The goal for this project was more to teach people the introduction of coding and like game development concepts, and less create something that uses the most modern technology. But yeah, no, Pixie, there's 3D or 3.js, which is also really nice. Okay, so now we need a particle effect. So what I want to do is, so really, there's two ways to do this. One is fake effects, and that is having something that looks like it's doing something cool, but really is just like a spinning or an animated GIF. In fact, I'm sure if I search, animated GIF black hole. So if I do a Giphy search for black hole, I mean, I'm sure I could find a bunch of cool things. Angel, thank you so much for the hosting. I greatly appreciate that. So I could find a black hole GIF, you know, and so for example, you know, I could take this and have this be my black hole. I could do a lot of things like that. I'm probably not going to, and the fact that I have a friend that is an artist who will be helping me on this, I'm probably going to wait to kind of do too much artwork. Angel, what? I can't wait. I can't guess. I'm terrible at guessing games. All right, so let's change our div to being smiley face. Let's see. Hold on. Just make it a smiley face for now, like that. Okay, so now I saw it in chat. I saw it in chat. All right, so now let's actually set up some levels. Okay, so we have our board 2 and board 5. So we're missing some board 3. So let's see. So board case 3 is going to be very similar to board 2, but with one hole. In fact, it'll be exactly the same thing. And oh yes, channel delay is great. All right, so case 4 is gonna be 5 black holes. Let's just go crazy. And let's make it 5 collectibles. Aw. Well, thank you. And we've got some Minecraft coming up. We actually have some lots of fun Minecraft coming up. Oh! Someone remembered. Hey, Pikachu is OP. Creative, thank you so much for the hosting. I greatly appreciate that. All right, so let's move these things around. All right, so let's make a little ladder. So 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. And then left will be 100, 200, 100, 300, 200. And the only reason I'm saying that is 400. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 500. Damn what? 100, 200, 100, 300, 200. Okay. And then, all right. So if I give a test on that one. So let's see. So stage 4 has, okay, so they're staggering going down here. But I now have 5. So I can get real crazy. You wanted the sound? Uh-oh. 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 Collision detection, no good. No good. What's happening? What's happening? Why is it not picking them up? No. You wanted the sound. You can do the sound too. I have integrated the bot. All right, so something's not right. Something's going crazy. Let's see. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, that worked. All right, creative. Have yourself a wonderful evening. Come on. Come this way. All right, it's supposed to be changing more based off the distance, but it's not. Why? All right, hold on. Let's do a test. All right, it is going in the opposite direction. Something is bad about that. Okay. Let's see what's going on, because that is not the way I want it. Okay, so our distance, total distance. All right, so our total distance plus 10 squared. Is it not squaring the right thing? No. So the amplification effect is 1 over total distance squared. So if our distance is 1,000, then it should be 1/1000, and the velocity should be... Ah, that was it. That was it. That was my problem. Hold on. I have to roll. Do I have a website? Sort of. The code is up there. And I do have thewizardloon.com, which is mostly Minecraft stuff. But I do actually have, if you are interested in tech type stuff. All right, so I realized what I did miss and why the distance thing is not working. Okay, so right now, everything is based off of the distance. So it's actually still based off the distance, because what I have is hero top minus the top. So the distance times the amplification effect, which is just makes no sense. So really what I want is I want to do the black holes dot weight. Because, as we all know, the mass, I guess I'm going to call it mass. All right, so black holes dot push, and then I need a mass in here. So the mass is equal to, let's just say 100. Let's see how that works. Or mass 200. Okay, so now things should be based off. All right, so that should affect things a little. Okay, so that was too much maybe. So mass 100. All right, so let's see. No, that did not work. Okay, so let's see something. Oh, I also need plus or minus. Okay, so what I need to do is figure out if it needs to go plus or minus. So if black holes dot I dot top is greater than hero top, y velocity equals negative absolute value of y velocity. I'm gonna make sure that makes sense. If my black hole is greater than, so below my hero top, then my velocity should be positive. Okay. else velocity should be negative. All right, so I think it's math dot. Yeah, okay. So math dot absolute value is taking the positive negative. You're working on a new build. I would love to see it, Angel. Okay. I just need to do the exact same for black holes dot left. Now you will note I am assuming everything is top left. So everything is based off of this position. Really what I should be doing is center position and center position. But for now, I'm not getting that nitty gritty on it yet. I will at some point. All right, so then it's going to be x velocity and x velocity. All right, so that should cover the negatives and positives. So let's see. Okay. That it does. Okay, so now things are working. All right, so now let's see. Far away has little pull. A little pull. And if I do it close, it should have a lot of pull. Okay, all right. So let's see. So let's actually try and beat this now. Ah, so close. All right, let's try again. Let's try again. Yes, Larry, I actually did manage to finish. So, for example, sound alive. So I can use the chatbot to directly affect that. I also have find the window. I have a notification window, so I can see that the Angel of Death has hosted, which is awesome, and I can see that Creative hosted. I can even replay that. So I have all these now, so I have custom notifications that show up. I do actually have an interface that is checking Twitch constantly and other notification windows. Well, not Windows services, and feeding that back to here, so I can dismiss all that. I also have my own soundboard directly in here, so you know if something goes wrong, I can so I can queue up all my sounds. So all of that is built in. So I have one window now that controls everything, and that makes me so happy. Is it done? No, of course. I'm always going to want to do new things. But it also has dice rolling built in, which is pretty nifty for my superhero delivery service, which is every Monday. Okay, so as I was saying about the top and left, I want